It was clear on election night, November 7th, that the American people want a change of course in the war in Iraq. The Iraq Study Group, which I have so much, I feel so good about them. They tried so hard to do the right thing. And their report indicates that they agree with what the election results were on November 7th. There must be a change of course in Iraq. The Iraq Study Group is a rejection of the policies of the Bush administration, the war in Iraq. It calls for redeployment. It calls for a change of course, I repeat. Now, the President has the ball in his court now. It is up to President Bush to implement the recommendations of this commission, this study group. And we're going to be watching very closely after the first of the year with oversight hearings conducted by, in a very public manner, the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Armed Services Committee, and in a very quiet way, the Intelligence Committee. We're going to watch very closely what the Bush administration does. On behalf of the American people, I certainly hope that the President follows the recommendations of this study group. I mentioned this, but I'll be more specific now. I'm so anxious for Senator Rockefeller to take the reins of the Intelligence Committee. You won't be seeing him holding press conferences about what goes on in that Intelligence Committee. But what he does in that Intelligence Committee is so vitally important to the safety and security of this nation and this world. And he's got a lot of catch-up to do, and we all know that. Work that hasn't been done in the past. We closed down the Senate as a result of the inability of the committee to get basic hearings done to find out what went on prior to the war. So you're not going to hear from Senator Rockefeller today, probably not much in the future, but I say to the nation that there's no one more important to what's happening in Iraq and the world than Senator Rockefeller. Questions?
Was there any talk of why there wasn't a mention of a specific timetable of withdrawal from Iraq?
There's a lot of talk in that meeting about timetable, and I think that Secretary Perry answered it about as directly as anyone could. If this report is followed by the President, by the first quarter of 2008, most all troops, American troops, will be out of Iraq.
Senator Reid, just to clarify, is this report an approach that the Democratic Senate, the Democratic leadership is now embracing as the way forward in Iraq?
It's not a question of the Democratic senators embracing this report. As you know, we have done a number of things. We offered an amendment that was passed with 79 senators, saying that the year 2006 will be a year of significant transition. That's the law today. We also had the Reid Amendment, which called for many of the things that are in this report. So we acknowledge that this is a tremendous step forward, and it will change course in Iraq. It's up to the President to fulfill his obligation, in my opinion, to the country and follow the recommendations of this study group.
Senator Reid, do you feel vindicated by this report?
Yes.
Senator Reid, do you believe that this report will lead to a withdrawal of troops from Iraq?
Yes.
Senator Reid, are you prepared as Democrats to push the ball forward if you don't see the administration move fast enough? What can you do?
I made it very clear that we're watching very closely what happens with this administration. That's why I called upon Senators Levin and Biden to make a presentation to all of you. That's why I mentioned with some detail what I expect of Senator Rockefeller. There will be oversight hearings that have not been held, watching what the President does and doesn't do. So the answer is yes.
Could you expand on what areas of oversight you will get into, and does that include going back and looking at weapons of mass destruction and intelligence?
The Intelligence Committee is going to go back and complete the work that should have been done a long time ago. And that work is the 5 manner, the 5 features that we said should have been done, 2 have been done, 3 haven't been done. There's been foot dragging for more than 2 years in that regard. Senator Rockefeller has the charge to go ahead and complete that. So yes, we are going to look at how the intelligence was manipulated prior to going to war.
Senator, if I could ask you, and perhaps even Senator Biden and Senator Levin, is there anything, or are there a few approaches perhaps in this report that trouble you? That you think would not
I'll speak for myself. I haven't read the report, okay? I had a briefing by Congressman Hamilton, and I have a briefing in here. I haven't read the report, so I'm not about to sign off on everything in this report. I'm sure there are things I disagree on. I wasn't part of the 10 people. I would have probably done it a little differently. But it's a tremendous step forward. I'm very proud of the work done by this study group.